Welcome back, everybody, to Sunrise on the Hill. Earlier this week, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a proclamation designating both the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council on American Islamic Relations, known as CAIR, as a foreign terrorist organization in Texas.
CAIR is a Muslim civil rights group that focuses on advocacy work. This morning, we are speaking with Ahmed Mitchell. He is a civil rights attorney and CAIR's National Deputy Director. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. I want to read you what Greg Abbott wrote in that proclamation. He says the actions taken by the Muslim Brotherhood and CAIR to support terrorism across the globe and subvert our laws through violence, intimidation, and harassment are unacceptable. These radical extremists are not welcome in our state and are now prohibited from acquiring any real property interest in Texas. So Texas labeling CAIR a foreign terrorist group. The federal government has not labeled CAIR or the Muslim Brotherhood a foreign terrorist group. I want to ask you just straight up, has CAIR ever been charged with or found liable for supporting terrorism or any other criminal activity by a United States court?
Absolutely not. Greg Abbott is a politician who has spent years stoking anti-Muslim bigotry and trying to shred the First Amendment, all to protect the Israeli government from criticism. This is a man who tried to fire a special education teacher because she wouldn't sign a boycott pledge saying she will not boycott Israel. He tried to cut state contracts with a businessman who refused to sign that same boycott pledge. And earlier this year, he tried to expel college kids if they dared to exercise their free speech to speak out against the Gaza genocide. CAIR, we sued him all 3 times that he did those things, and we won all 3 times. And now he's retaliating against us with this defamatory, unconstitutional proclamation that's just full of conspiracy theories and will not stand in a court of law.
So can you describe to people what CAIR does and what your impact is?
Sure. CAIR is our nation's largest Muslim civil rights organization. We were founded 31 years ago. For 31 years, we've been protecting free speech, religious freedom, and promoting justice for all people. We have 25 chapters around the country, including in Texas. The lawsuits we've won have established legal precedents that protect religious freedom for everyone. We also won recently a 9-0 ruling at the U.S. Supreme Court in a lawsuit against the federal government. That's the work that CAIR has been doing for 31 years. What the NAACP does for African Americans, we do for American Muslims, and we're very good at it. And Greg Abbott knows that, which is why he's so upset with us.
Do you plan to take him to court over this proclamation?
I don't want to get ahead of our legal team, but I can say that today you will be seeing some significant news in terms of legal action directed at Greg Abbott.
Well, let me ask you, I know that the UAE, for example, has declared CAIR a terrorist organization, that some of your leadership has at times been accused of having ties to Hamas. How would you address all of that for people who are wondering?
Sure. Look, during the 1960s, when Black civil rights activists were speaking up against segregation, those who opposed them, those who wanted to maintain segregation apartheid, couldn't win the argument, so they attacked the messenger. The state of Alabama tried to shut down the NAACP. Black leaders were accused of being communist, agents of the Soviet Union. None of that was true, and none of the allegations made about CAIR are true today. We are an American civil rights organization. We rely on the American people for support. We do not have any partnership with any foreign organization, not Hamas, not the Muslim Brotherhood, and we never have. In fact, we have vocally condemned terrorism for 31 years. We condemned terrorism so often that ISIS once put our director on its target list. We've also specifically condemned attacks on civilians on October 7th and Hamas suicide bombings dating back to the 1990s. We have also, yes, vocally condemned the Israeli government for its decades of apartheid and oppression and the genocide in Gaza. And it's that criticism of the Israeli government and our country's unconditional support for it that has made us a target of these conspiracy theories. But I want to make it very clear. I am the deputy director of CAIR. I'm a civil rights attorney. I'm a former criminal prosecutor. So let me say definitively, CAIR is not an offshoot, agent, partner of any, or pen pal of any foreign entity. We're an American organization, period.
Do you think there's any relationship between something like Governor Abbott is doing and rising anti-Muslim sentiment in the United States at this moment?
Absolutely. So about 6 months ago, the Israeli Foreign Ministry conducted a poll of Western nations, which found that there were increasingly negative views of Israel because of the war crimes it committed in Gaza. But the poll also found that the best way to restore positive views of Israel was to distract Western nations with anti-Muslim bigotry. And what do you know it? Right after that, you've seen a very significant upsurge in anti-Muslim rhetoric, anti-Muslim bigotry. Greg Abbott is going after Muslim houses of worship across the state of Texas. You've seen in various states push to pass Sharia, anti-Sharia laws. You've seen this conspiracy theory about the Muslim Brotherhood come back to life. All of this nonsense was debunked 10 years ago, but it all suddenly came back over the summer. And that is, we believe, because the pro-Israel lobby and anti-Muslim hate groups want to silence American Muslims who have been very successful in speaking up about our government's wrongful support of the Israeli government's human rights abuses. And so they want to silence us. They want to smear us. But I think most Americans are seeing through it. And again, this is what the law is for. This is what courts of law are for. And we look forward to seeing Greg Abbott in a court of law so we can beat him for a fourth time in a row, God willing.
This is not the first time CAIR has taken what you might consider sort of a public relations. I know back during the Holy Land Foundation trial, one of the largest terrorism financing trials, CAIR was named as an unindicted co-conspirator. I should point out, a judge found that the organization's due process rights were ultimately violated, and they did not do anything wrong. The organization, that is. What is your concern about this proclamation impacting the work that CAIR does moving forward, especially in the state of Texas?
Yeah. Well, let me note, sadly, our government, state and local, has a long history of misusing the law to smear American Muslim organizations. For example, that trial you mentioned was deeply flawed. It's been widely criticized, including by the ACLU. And you're right, a federal court later ruled that this list of dozens of American Muslim organizations that were listed as unindicted co-conspirators, that this was wrong, it was improper, and there was nothing to it, which is why no one was ever charged with any crimes and why CAIR has never been charged with any criminal behavior, because we're a civil rights group. This proclamation is just the latest example of a government misusing the law to try to silence dissent. And look, you don't have to agree with CAIR's position on Islamophobia, anti-Palestinian racism, or Israel to recognize that no governor should be able to just declare an organization he dislikes a terrorist group, ban them from buying land, and try to shut them down. That power could be used to go after anyone. Black Lives Matter, the NAACP, Right to Life, Planned Parenthood, whatever side of any debate you're on, no civil rights organization, no advocacy organization can be targeted in this way. It's a complete violation of the First Amendment of the Constitution, and we should all stand up against it, no matter what we think about the particular issue at hand.
We've got about 20 seconds left. I just want to ask you, it's hard not to think about the fight going on in Texas right now with this real estate development that a group of Muslims wants to build in Texas that really has some on the right concerned. Do you think that has anything to do with this proclamation from the governor?
Look, as I said, Greg Abbott has spent months trying to whip up anti-Muslim hysteria. He launched this frivolous investigation into that neighborhood that was being built by a Muslim community and was going to be open to all Texans no matter their faith, and he failed. You know, that investigation failed. The federal government said there was nothing going on, and that project is moving forward. So again, Greg Abbott, to be frank, is a loser. He keeps losing every time he tries to violate the First Amendment, to embarrass the American Muslim community, to silence the community, and to serve the Israeli government. I don't know why he keeps doing this. Maybe he likes losing, but we look forward to seeing him in court and making sure that he loses to us for the fourth time in a row, God willing.
Edward Ahmed Mitchell with CAIR, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate the time.